In today's video, we will look at where to stay in Venice and the 9 best areas to stay in Venice for tourists. Before we go straight into the video, please subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Venice has long been considered one of the most romantic destinations in the world. With its winding canals dotted with drifting gondolas and ornate bridges, it is easy to see why. There is tons to see and do in Venice, from historical landmarks to contemporary tourist attractions. The first area to look at when it comes to where to stay in Venice is San Marco. San Marco is the best area to stay in Venice for first-time visitors because it is the most central of all the districts on the central Venetian islands. If you stay here, you will be located in the middle of everything, within walking distance to Venice's famous attractions, as well as many restaurants, bars and shops. The 11th century St. Mark's Basilica is the jewel of San Marco. The opulent cathedral features towering domes and soaring steeples atop a grand arched facade. The interior is possibly even more magnificent, decorated with beautiful mosaic walls and gilded accents. Right next door is the stunning Doge's Palace. Overlooking the Grand Canal, Doge's Palace is worth visiting, even just for its ornate exterior. However, if you have the time, then venture inside, where you will find numerous exhibitions from the palace's past as both a royal residence and prison. The famous Bridge of Sighs, designed by Italian architect Antonio Contino, connects Doge's Palace to the once prison on the other side of the Rio del Palazzo Canal. To really appreciate the historic bridge, however, it is better viewed from the Ponte della Paglia. The Basilica and Doge's Palace are located at the east end of St. Mark's Square. This 12th century plaza is a popular meeting place for both tourists and locals, but can get very busy. You can climb to the top of the imposing 12th century bell tower in the center of the square and enjoy a stunning view of Venice. With so many historic buildings and charming side streets, San Marco is one of the top options in the city for those wanting to capture the romantic atmosphere of Venice. Being surrounded on 3 sides by the Grand Canal means you will have plenty of opportunity for intimate riverside walks too. Being the most central neighborhood in Venice and one of the most popular, prices for accommodation can get very steep here. If you're looking for luxury, you will have plenty of options to choose from in San Marco. There are some more mid-range options to be found once you get a little further from the riverside. However, if you are hoping for a room with views of the iconic canals and lagoon, you are definitely going to have to pay a premium for it if you have your heart set on staying in the San Marco neighborhood. The second area in the list of the best areas to stay in Venice is Dorsoduro. Dorsoduro is located across the Accademia Bridge from San Marco. It has a vibrant nightlife and some of the most famous art galleries in the city. With the attractions of San Marco to the east and San Polo to the north, you will be surrounded by plenty of things to see and do within easy walking distance of your hotel. Meanwhile, the transport hub of Santa Croce is also right next door, so getting to and from your bus, train or car will be easy. Of course, Dorsoduro has plenty of its own merits, and the benefits of staying here do not rely solely on the surrounding areas. Dorsoduro is home to some of Venice's principal arts institutions, including Venice's most famous art gallery, the Gallery dell'Accademia. The Gallery dell'Accademia displays classical artworks from the 13th through 18th centuries. If you want to get a detailed look at how Venetian art and fashions have changed throughout the ages, this is the perfect opportunity. Alternatively, if you prefer more contemporary and modern art, the Peggy Guggenheim collection might be more to your tastes. In addition to appreciating masterpieces by renowned artists, including Dalí and Picasso, the surroundings are to be admired too. Further along, at the far eastern end of Dorsoduro, you will find the magnificent Basilica di Santa Maria della Salute. Dating back to the 17th century, the beautiful domed basilica is one of the loveliest buildings in Venice. Campo Santa Margherita is the hub of Dorsoduro, a popular meeting place for Venetian people day and night. It's also a great nightlife venue and is surrounded by 14th and 15th century houses, market stalls and shops. A stroll from the scenic promenade of Fondamenta Satere to the boatyard of Squero di San Trovaso is very recommended. You can enjoy views of the canal of Giudecca. Aside from its artistic offerings, Dorsoduro is also Venice's university district. Much of the retail and hospitality in the area cater to the resident student population. As such, you will find plenty of trendy boutiques and hip cafes lining the streets. Catering to the student budget means the restaurants and cafes in this part of town are generally more reasonably priced than the touristy centre. The area also has a more authentic vibe, giving Dorsoduro a laid-back air not seen in the more contrived tourist traps in San Marco. The influence of the young student crowd carries into the evenings. Dorsoduro is home to the best selection of bars in the city. If you're looking for somewhere to keep entertained after dark, Dorsoduro is your best bet. Despite being so close to the city centre, the rates for accommodation in Dorsoduro are not as terribly high as you might expect. Whilst not the cheapest area in Venice, there are plenty of mid-range hotels to consider, along with a few more affordable options. The third area in the list of the best places to stay in Venice is San Polo, directly across the Grand Canal from San Marco. San Polo is the smallest sestiere of Venice, as well as one of the oldest. It is super central, with easy access to the Venetian public water bus. San Polo is another fantastic place to stay for those who want to stay in a well-located area to see as many of the major attractions as possible. Being close to so many popular attractions, whilst not quite as crowded as the central San Marco region, makes San Polo very popular with families. With less hustle and bustle and short distances between sites, it's easier to safely shuttle kids around this area. San Polo is particularly well known for its historic streets and structures. San Polo is where you will find the famous Rialto Bridge. The Rialto Bridge is one of the most well-known landmarks in Venice. Constructed in the 16th century, it is the oldest of the bridges that cross the Grand Canal, connecting San Polo to San Marco. More than just a footbridge, the Rialto Bridge offers a unique shopping experience. Arcades of shops and stores run along the length of the Rialto Bridge, selling a plethora of products from jewellery to souvenirs. The shops on the Rialto Bridge are not to be confused with those of the Rialto Market. Dating back as far as the 11th century, the Rialto Market well predates the bridge and is one of the oldest institutions in the city. The market is held close to the church of San Giacomo di Rialto, believed to have been built in the year 1071. The market and the church have been operating here for almost 1,000 years. It's an incredible slice of history to partake in when you visit. San Polo is also home to some of the oldest churches and cathedrals in Venice. The Basilica dei Frari is located at the opposite end of the district to the Rialto Bridge and was constructed in the early 1300s. It's next door to the Scuola Grande di San Rocco, which was built less than 200 years later. At the heart of the district is the Campo San Polo public square. Aside from being a convenient meeting place, the square is often used as an events venue. Dating back to the 1400s, it now hosts concerts and seasonal attractions in a stunning historical setting. The fourth area in the list of where to stay in Venice is Santa Croce. Santa Croce is a much quieter and more residential neighborhood. Most of the attractions in Santa Croce are clustered in the east of the district. The west is largely transport terminals and infrastructure. Towards Villaggio Eden, you will find several lovely museums. The shopping and hospitality of the area are generally much less high-end and pretentious than you often find in the very center of Venice. Instead, you can enjoy local, family-run restaurants and cafes. It is a wonderful place to take a more relaxed break and mingle with the locals. Santa Croce is very well connected to transport systems. Both Venice's primary bus terminal and port are located here, right next to one another. If you're traveling into Venice by bus or boat, staying in the Santa Croce neighborhood will save you the time and effort of traveling to and from your hotel. The train terminal of central Venice, Stazione di Venezia Santa Lucia, is also located just across the Grand Canal. Several bridges connect over from the train station to Santa Croce, so you will have just a short walk from the station to your hotel. Additionally, if you're traveling into Venice by car, Santa Croce is located right at the end of the Ponte della Libertà bridge, which is the train and traffic bridge that connects the Venetian islands to the mainland. Santa Croce is the only place in the main Venetian islands where you will find roads and parking for cars. If you would rather avoid the hassle of hauling your luggage onto a ferry or water taxi, Santa Croce offers the easiest hotel commute. Of course, being that parking on the islands is so very limited, it may be beneficial to check ahead for pre-booked parking. You don't want to get all the way there, only to find you have nowhere to leave your car. The fifth area in the list of the best areas to stay in Venice is Cannaregio. Cannaregio is the best place to stay in Venice on a budget because hotels here are usually cheaper than central Venice, and you are still located pretty close to the major attractions. Once a bustling industrial area, Cannaregio is now home to the largest residential population in Venice. It is a good place to stay in Venice with more local vibe than other sestieri in the city. Historically, Cannaregio is known for boasting the world's first Jewish ghetto, the Campo di Ghetto Nuovo. Dating back to the early 16th century, many historic structures can still be visited here, including some of the area's oldest synagogues and a museum dedicated to the Jewish history of this area of Venice. In addition to the original 16th century buildings, there are also numerous kosher shops and delis to enjoy. If you happen to be in town around the Hanukkah celebrations in December, you should definitely consider visiting Cannaregio to experience the celebrations that take over the area. Cannaregio is also a great place to visit if you enjoy shopping, but prefer local stores and vintage boutiques over the big brand names of the city centre. The Strada Nova shopping street is a particularly popular destination with both locals and visitors. In this neighbourhood, you can find a beautiful 15th century walled-side palace, Ca' d'Oro Palace. It is home to exhibitions of Renaissance furnishings and artworks by renowned Venetian painters. Cannaregio is home to Venice's narrowest street, Calle Marisco, with only 53 centimeters wide. Adjacent to it is the Fondamenta Ormesini, one of the best areas to enjoy nightlife in Venice. If you're traveling to Venice by train, Cannaregio will be particularly convenient for you. The Santa Lucia train station is located in the west end of the district. Getting from the train station to your hotel will be much easier if you stay here, rather than in one of the other districts. The sixth area in the list of the best places to stay in Venice is Castello. Castello is one of the largest districts in Venice. Covering most of the city east of San Marco, Castello offers a location super close to the attractions of the city centre without the crushing crowds of tourists. Historically, Castello was Venice's maritime hub. Much of the old industrial and shipping infrastructures have been preserved and now serve as tourist attractions. The Naval History Museum houses fascinating exhibitions on Castello's heritage as a base for the Venetian Navy. The Arsenale di Venezia is a shipyard that dates back to the Byzantine period of the early 12th century. The collection of structures surrounding it are now used as venues for various events. The arsenal is also the center point for the Venetian Biennale. The Venice Biennale is an arts organization that arranges various festivals throughout the year, each focused on a different sector of the arts. The internationally renowned Venice Film Festival is one of the events the Venetian Biennale organizes. Even when the Biennale isn't hosting any events or festivals, there are still plenty of shows to take in. The area boasts numerous theatres and opera houses, in addition to the typically Venetian collection of art galleries and museums. In the east of the Castello district are the Biennale Gardens. With unobstructed views out over the Venice Lagoon and swathes of leafy trees, the Biennale Gardens are a lovely opportunity to escape from the pressures of the city. Around the time of the Biennale's events, this area gets busier and accommodation can get more pricey. It's definitely worth keeping that in mind when considering booking accommodations in Castello. The seventh area in the list of the best areas to stay in Venice is Giudecca. Giudecca is a large, long island just south of the main city of Venice. There are no bridges connecting Giudecca across to the main islands. If you stay here, you will be relying on the ferries whenever you want to get to or from the main part of the city. The neighborhood has come a long way from its history as a prison island, then a military base. Now it exists as a leafy suburban retreat for the city's artistic community. The Giudecca district is notable for its beauty. The island itself is home to numerous leafy parks and gardens. Meanwhile, the views from the shoreline are nothing short of stunning. Scattered amongst the houses of Giudecca, you can find numerous studios and small galleries belonging to the independent artists that call Giudecca home. If you want to see more of the current generation's artwork, rather than just classical masterpieces, this is a good place to explore. The Santissimo Redentore Church is one of the highlight attractions on Giudecca. It was built in the 16th century by Palladio. It hosts the Redentore festival in July each year. The upside to being so separated from the main city is that it makes it a lot less touristy than the main islands of Venice. If you are looking for a place to stay in Venice to avoid the crowds, Giudecca is a great option. Being removed from the main city centre, you can find some very reasonably priced accommodation in Giudecca. The eighth area in the list of where to stay in Venice is Lido di Venezia. If you are planning a beach vacation rather than a city break, Lido would be the top Venetian district for you. With a lovely Blue Moon beach stretching along the eastern shore of the island, Lido is perfect for a break spent relaxing on the sand. There aren't a ton of sights to see in this part of Venice. However, there are plenty of chic waterfront cafes and cocktail bars to relax at, so you will still have plenty to keep you entertained throughout your trip. Across the Venice Lagoon from the main islands, there are no bridges connecting across to the city centre. If you want to do any sightseeing in the main town, you will need to rely on the ferry services. There are multiple routes going to various locations around Venice, so it's not too much hassle. This is where much of the Venice Film Festival is held. If you're visiting specifically for the festival, the Lido is where you will want to stay. On the other hand, if you aren't visiting for the festival, you may want to pick a different area or time to visit. It gets both crowded and more expensive. If you love nature and biodiversity, you can rent bikes to visit the natural oasis and dunes in Alberoni, Oasi WWF Dune degli Alberoni, a protected natural reserve on the south side of the island. Lido is one of a few areas in Venice that accommodates cars. Aside from being generally more convenient, it also makes it more accessible for travellers with mobility issues, who struggle with the pedestrian lanes and ferries of the main islands. The ninth area in the list of the best areas to stay in Venice is Mestre. Mestre is located within a short journey by public transport from Venice. It is one of the best areas to stay in Venice on a budget or with a car, because car parkings and accommodations in Mestre are much cheaper than in Venice. Whilst most of the iconic Venetian attractions are on the famous islands, Mestre also has its share of things to see and do. Forte Marghera dates back to the 1800s and makes for a particularly unique art gallery and event space. Alternatively, Museum M9 offers a unique look at how technology is affecting our personal and family lives. It also offers predictions into the impact technology will have on our future societies. It will be interesting to see how accurate those predictions prove to be. One thing to note about the Venetian islands is that the many canals makes it impossible for cars to access the main city. As such, it can be difficult for those with mobility issues to get around, having to rely on wobbly ferries and narrow bridges. Staying in Mestre negates that issue. Whilst you would obviously have to find a workaround for any sightseeing, you wouldn't have to struggle just to get your luggage to your hotel. Travelling into Mestre, in general, is a simpler task than it is for many of the island districts. Aside from being able to drive into Mestre, you can also take a train straight into Venezia Mestre train station at the heart of the Mestre neighbourhood. Trains to Venice take around 10 minutes and cost less than €2 per trip. Being well outside of the main centre of the city, prices for accommodation are super affordable in Mestre, even after allowing for the additional cost of travel to and from any sites you want to visit. Staying in Mestre can save you a lot of cash. Mestre is the best place to stay if you are on a budget, but in my opinion, it's best to stay in Venice if you are visiting Lagoon City for the first time. Now you have it. Where to stay in Venice and the 9 best areas to stay in Venice. Overall, San Marco is the best area to stay in Venice for first-time travellers, due to its prime location. If you stay here, you will be located in the middle of everything, within walking distance to Venice's top tourist attractions, restaurants, bars, and shops. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.